Okay, so it's being recorded right now. So that's the first warm-up, as I said, but it's not enough. Why? Now the first thing, when you do this, now you search for language learning, you wrote PDF next to it, you find that there are 2 billion results. Now usually what you do, you try to see the first 2 or 3 pages because usually they are the most relevant. But there are some downsides to this. Yes?
Please. Could you record the presentation?
Yes, it is being recorded.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Good luck.
Thank you. Now there is a problem with this step. The first problem is that, as you see, you will find billions of results. And the second thing is that even if I wrote language learning and you write PDF next to it, sometimes you don't even find PDF files. Now these are the 2 problems with it. The first problem with just writing language learning PDF is that you will find billions of results, and the second thing is that sometimes you don't even find PDF files. How do I deal with this issue? Now the first step is, if you want to look specifically for PDF files, that is all the results on Google is just PDF files, you click on the following. You write file type :PDF, then you write the topic next to it, and all the results that you will have will literally be just about PDF files. So basically you write file type :PDF, and then I wrote next to it language learning. Now the results of this, once you click on this, you write this formula, you will only get PDF files. That's about it. Only PDF files. So that's what I said. If you just write language learning and you write PDF, you might find results that are not even PDF files. But this is something that Google has, is that you can write file type :PDF, language learning, and as you can see, the results, even now the result is lowered. It went from 2 billion results to 240 million results. So that's the first step, is that I want to look, this is me, I am a researcher, I want to look for this topic, but please Google, only give me PDF files. Basically you write file type :PDF. Now the results, as I've said, they are less now, and you can try with both. You can try either putting :PDF as soon as it is next to it, or you can write space. So put a space between the colon and PDF. If you do that, obviously you will get lower results. Basically now we only have 3 million results, but the usual formula that we do is just :PDF. Now, it's not just the PDF files. Now, you can look for documents. Now, imagine I want to find something on Google, but I only want to find documents or PPT files. And this is the case for people who are not only researchers, but probably teachers. Imagine you're looking for something related to grammar or something like that, and you are tired of just looking at websites. You just want to look for official worksheets or PPT files. This is just an example. So it's the same thing. File type PPT, and then as soon as you search for it, you will only find the PPT files. And the same thing for documents. You can only look for documents and so on. So this is the first thing you do. As I've said, the first step, I'm just going to warm up. I'm just going to write language learning on Google. And then you can write PDF next to it to just try your best to see PDFs. And you can look for the official way if you only want to exclusively look at PDF files. Or obviously, you write file type :PDF or file type :doc, and then put space and then write your topic. Sorry, the network is bad on my part. Now what if, when I want, sometimes you want to look for something, right, and then it's just too broad. You just want to look for this specific exact word. Now imagine you want to find out about literally language learning, but they only put language and learning, or they put something else, language acquisition. The way to do that, if you want to look for exact phrase or exact words, basically they might give you, as I said, the results on language and learning. I want literally just language learning. So what you do is that you put quotation marks. Now if you search on Google and you put quotation marks on the topic you're looking for, they're basically just going to give you literally that exact expression. Because sometimes, and this is for the case of people in general, they want sorry. Can you see my screen? Sorry. Hello, can you hear me, guys? Hello, can you hear me, guys? I apologize, there seems to be a technical problem. Can you hear me now? Now, yes. Okay, great. Now, as I've said, you can look for specific file types, such as the following. Now, listen, as I've said here, you can write file type :PPT, and as you can see, you can only see the PowerPoint presentations. See here, PPT, PPT files, and all of that. And the same thing, you can also look for documents only. And now you will only get results about documents. As you can see here, results about documents, right? Now, as I've said, if I want to look for a specific exact word and phrase, you put a quotation next to it. So basically, I will go here and write language learning and then put quotation next to it. If you put a quotation next to language learning, you will literally just get the exact phrase. And this is a lot of people, they have some specific technical terms, and because they have those technical terms, they get some expressions that are not really related to their research. They want to get the exact phrase. So if you want to get the exact phrase, then basically you you'll search for language learning and put quotation marks. If you just want to look for a specific expression or a phrase or a sentence, always put quotation marks between the topic, and you will find the exact results on Google. Is everything clear for now, guys? Any question? Okay, let me check out your comments if you have. Is it clear, everyone? Can you all still see the presentation, everything? Yes? Okay. Can you guys hear me? Yes? Okay. just to make sure that everyone is following with me. Now, as I've said, if you want to look for specific exact
Yes,
word-
Ines, just go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay, because I'm afraid I'm just going to talk and no one is listening. So as I've said, as a solution, if you want to look for a specific phrase or an expression, you just put a quotation mark next to it, as I've put there. And now imagine that you can actually mix between both quotation marks and requesting for PDFs. For example, you can literally request, okay, I want to look for language learning, right? I want to look for language learning and I want this exact phrase and I just want PDF files. So you can join all of them. So basically you write, for example, file type PDF, and then I write language learning. Now, what does this expression mean? This expression means, hello Google, I want to look only for PDF files and with this exact phrase or expression. And look now, from our beginning, in the beginning we had like 2 billion results and now we only have like 8 million. So this is just an example. Obviously language learning is not a narrowed down topic, but this is just in general. Now you will only have results that are PDF and with the exact expression or sentence that you are looking for. Now, what if you do not remember the exact words and phrases? Basically, sometimes a person wants to remember an expression, but they just know the beginning of the word or the beginning of the expression, and they want Google to generate whatever related items. And this is the issue of asterisk. This little star is the opposite of looking for an exact phrase. If you forgot an expression or want Google to complete it for you, then you use, for example, now imagine my topic for me is about double each questions. Now if I write double each questions, now if I want to look for double each questions, obviously for me, in my case, in the world of syntax, there are many expressions that you can say for double each words. You can say double each words, double each expressions, double each movement, double each clauses. Now what if I want the results of all of this and I don't want to confine my research? Basically I can just write double each and write a little star. When you write a little star here, what you're asking for Google is to complete the expression for you. Okay, so when you search for this, the Google actually writes the expressions for you. So double each questions here and all of that. So double each questions and all of this. So it makes for me the results to be more narrowed down. So this is, as I've said, this little star basically is a situation where you do not remember the expression or you have different variations of the same expression. So what you do, since you have different variations of the same expression, basically you ask Google to complete it for you. Now that's the next step. Now what if I'm looking for, now sometimes you want to look for language learning, but it still gives you language teaching. How would I have, now imagine I want to tell Google, look, I want to look for this, I want to look for language learning, right? But I do not want you to give me any results about teaching. So how do you say that in Google terms? So for example, we want language learning, but the paper should not include teaching. So here, the situation, the way to convert that in Google is to create the minus sign. So for example, if you write language learning minus teaching, what Google does for you is that it will look for all the results that have language learning but no teaching in it. So basically I can search for it, write language learning minus teaching. Now if I have minus teaching, as you can see here, you will not find any result here whatsoever which includes teaching in it. So this is just for those people that they have a certain topic, but that topic deals with 2 items. And whenever you look for an ITP, it gives you another one, but it is out of the scope for your research. So guys, so the way to do that, you want to exclude that result. For example, Google did not give me anything in relation to teaching, so you just write the after language learning, you just write minus teaching. Is that clear, guys? So far so good? Yes, I will share the presentation. Okay, so guys, now okay, great. So as I've said here, now we are just literally diving in the world of narrowing down your topic. First of all, just so I can remind people that are newcomers, first of all, what you do, I'm just going to look language learning, put PDF next to it. We say that's not enough because sometimes you will not get PDF files even if you write PDF next to it. That's why we introduced the the expression file type. And as I've said, you can search for any type of file, whether it is doc or Excel or PPT or whatever. And then after that, we talked about if you want to look for exact words and phrases, put quotation marks next to your topic. And then we said, what if you do not remember the expression or you want Google to complete it for you? Just write next to that expression or word, or even a part of a word, write a little star next to it, and then it will show it to you. The next step, I said, what if you have a certain expression, you want to look for it, but you want to exclude another one? You want your result not to deal with that expression, you just write minus, as I've said, minus teaching. And as I've said, you can mix. For example, imagine now, this is me telling Google, please Google, I want a PDF file which has the exact expression language learning, but the result should not have teaching. That's literally this one. File type colon between quotations language learning minus teaching. That's the first one. Okay, now we move on. Now, what if I want to look for in a specific site? I want to look for a site search. So I want to search for language learning, but only in a specific website. Now imagine there is a huge website that is, for example, very well known in your field, and you don't just want to keep looking manually, you just want to look for the exact expression in that website. So what do you do? For example, imagine I want to go to Science Direct. And Science Direct is a place that publishes articles there. Imagine I will say, I want to look for language learning, but only in this website. So I say, for example, I want to look for language learning, but only on this website, which is, for example, sciencedirect.com. So how do I deal with it? You write site colon Science Direct, and I want to look for the expression language learning. Now, this is what happens. When you write site sciencedirect.com language learning, the results that you get here is from this specific website, Science Direct, Science Direct, Science Direct, Science Direct. So you basically, for example, here there are 29,000 articles on language learning in this website, which is Science Direct. So this is the case. So for example, you can look for Web of Science, Elsevier. Some people just want to look for language learning. I just want to look for it in Wiley or Oxford. So you can just say that. You can write the website and then write language learning next to it, and it will only give you the works or the pages about your topic from that specific website. And as I've said, you can make it. You can write quotations or not. If I write site sciencedirect.com and then space language learning, I'm giving the option for Science Direct to give me language learning in a broader sense. But if I want to look from that website the specific expression language learning, then you write quotations next to it. Any questions so far? Is it clear, guys? Yes? Just so I can make sure you're with me. Yes? Is it clear? Yes? Okay. Now, we finished that. Now, we finished this idea that, okay, I want to look for in a specific website. Now, let's go to the next step. Obviously, now this is something that is more specific and more technical. Now, imagine you don't want to look for a specific website, but only a domain. You know, a domain like org, edu, and all of that. Now, if I want to say, for example, imagine you have a research, right, guys? And your research is about language learning. And you want to find out what organizations have said about it. You don't want to go to articles, but you want to do something about service learning or something like that, and you go to organizations. So what do? You write site, colon, full stop, for example, org, language learning. Now I am getting Coursera.org, edX.org, everything.org. So here I'm just getting the results about language learning, but only what organizations have said about it. The same thing, I can put site, site, colon, full stop, .edu. So here only the websites that have edu in it, and you will find language learning about it. So this is just something that is very specific. And you have anything. For example, maybe MA. I don't know, the Moroccan government would have probably something in French in it, but MA. And then you look, and you will find here, if you are a researcher who's doing something about, and you need just what the organizations have said about it, or you want to just look for what, for example, the UN, the United Nations have said about that topic. Obviously, you will write the specific website, United Nations. I don't know what's the exact link of them, but for example, UnitedNations.org, and you will find all the topics, everything they said about it, to make your life easier. Because obviously, a lot of people go to Google Scholar and all of that because they want to look for only articles, but some people they want to look for official documents, to what organizations, associations, and some policies and all of that. Most of the time they are in official websites, and this makes your life easier when you look for it in that way. Now this is something, what if I want to look for language learning but something related to it as well? Now and this is what you do, related to it. Now the way to do it, if I want to look for, I'm not looking for language learning per se, but please Google, give me anything related to it. You see what I mean? Anything related to it. So obviously, if you write this tilde here, if you write this tilde before your topic, what Google will generate is not only language learning per se, but it might give you something else, maybe education, maybe acquisition, and so on. So obviously I don't have the cursor, so I'm just gonna steal it from here. I looked for it on my keyboard, didn't find it, but you can just look for it. It's called the tilde. So when you do that, it will generate results for me that are related to language learning and more than that, maybe acquisition, maybe education. So if you want to have something in relation to your topic and not your topic per se, something, because why is it so? Because Google, the same people who search for language learning, possibly they search for something else. So what Google does, because of this algorithm, it gives you what people are searching next, what are searching when they search for language learning. Also, you can also include both your exact word. Now imagine you want to include the exact word, which is, for example, language learning, and similar words next to it. So what you do here, you will write, for example, language learning between quotations, and then you write the symbol tilde acquisition. So when you write tilde acquisition, what you're telling Google, I want the specific item, language learning, and yes, I give you the permission to give me anything in relation to acquisition. Now, what if, here we are in the world of what ifs. So what if Google, we are just ordering Google now. What if Google, please Google, give me my topic, yes, language learning, but I want it only from 2010 to 2021. Because obviously if you write articles or if you search for your thesis and all of that, and if your most of your results that you found that are relevant, because when you search for Google language learning, the first pages are relevant articles and the most cited ones and so on. What if the most cited ones and relevant, they are mostly all very old, from 1980s, 1970s, 1990s, and you want something new? What did people say about my topic recently in the last 5 years? So what you do, you click for, there is a situation, you can do that in the, when you look for time range. And what you do, you for example, you write your topic that you want to search for, language learning, and then you put next to it the time range. And between those time range, you put 2 full stops. So for example, 2010, full stop, 2 dots, 2020. So let me try this out with you guys. So for example, we say language learning, and I want only things that are, for example, between 2008 and 2010. If I click on it, now you see this article, for example, this one is from 2008. This one is from where? It's from 2010 and all of that. So if you want to give a specific time range of your topic, for example, I just want things between 2015 and 2021. So we will only find the topics that are, for example, this one, language learning, 2018. So if you want to look for your topic, but only a specific time, for example, I want to look for what people have said about language learning from 2015, 2021. This is the way for you. Okay. And obviously, you can add all those little details. For example, if you want, you can play around with it. File type PDF, and then I write specifically language learning between 2000, and that's what I, for example, this is modern methods of language learning. This was in 2020. And what matters for language learning? This was in 2020. Language learning as investment or consumption. This was in 2020. And all of that. So this is the way for you. So you can, and this whole expression, this whole formula, what does it mean? Hello Google, I want to find specifically this exact phrase, language learning, and I want your results only to be PDF files, and I want it to be from 2012 and 2021. So we are very demanding here. So that's the way to do it. Now let's move on. Next. Now, sometimes your topic deals with 2 things. Your topic deals with both language acquisition and learning, and you want to tell your Google, please give me both of these. Please, I want both of them. Now, instead of just searching for them on independent grounds, you go in a window and then you search for that item, and then you go for in another window and you search for another item. There is a way to which is this or that. So I want to look for language learning or language acquisition. So what Google does here is that it will give you either language learning or language acquisition. And remember that or should be uppercase here. So it means it should be in uppercase, not lowercase. For example, I will search language learning or language acquisition. So, and then I will get all those results. Basically, my Google will give me the ability to, my results will deal with both of these. Now, what if you want what if you want all the terms in the text? Sorry, somebody wants to join, so I'm just going to add them. Now, what if I want to find something, I want to find language learning not in a title. You want to find it in a text. So I want to find in my text, in a certain page, in a text, I want to find all of this. So I want to find language learning Morocco. I don't care. Muhim, that article has inside of it language learning Morocco. So that's what the way to deal with that is that you click on all in text colon language learning Morocco. So I will write all in text language learning Morocco. So when you search for this, Google will give you results about results where the page contains all of these expressions. It contains language, learning, and then Morocco. So, and this is for the case of people who are frustrated. For example, they find that the article deals with something, but the text deals with another thing. And you want the text to deal specifically with all of these items. So what you do, you click, you write all in text, colon, and then you write the expressions that you want to have in that page. Okay? Now this is an issue that people have, is that a lot of times I'm trying to look for a topic, but I find that it is very minor in a text. For example, I'm looking for example, my topic WH questions, but then I find that the article the article deals mainly with WH construction, which is something broad, and in the text it deals with it in a minor way. So what the solution here is that I need that topic in the title. I need my expression, my topic to be in the title, not just in the text. Because when it is in the title, it means it is the main thing that the author is focusing on. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. What I'm trying to say here, having the Google or any other means, basically, once we look for in Google Scholar and all of those items, having my topic in the text is not enough, because sometimes the author deals with it in a minor way. When that topic is in the title, it guarantees for me that this is the main thing they are looking for in that work. So that's why this is a very nice way to say, for example, please Google, I want to look for language learning, but as a title of a paper or a page, not just in the text. So what we do, you write all in title. So all in title language learning. So if I write, for example, all in title colon language learning Morocco, what happens here is that Google will generate for me all the pages or pages of articles which has in its title language learning Morocco. So we basically just write all in title language learning Morocco. So as soon as I search for it, look at the title here. The title has language learning in Morocco, learning in Morocco, language politics, learning in Morocco, language politics, learning Moroccan language, politics, and so on. Morocco, France, sign new French language learning. So here, Google is only giving me titles which contains the following expressions. If you just write without this expression all in title, if I just write language learning Morocco, now look at the title here. It's learn Moroccan, Arabic, online, whatever. What happens here is that the work might deal with something completely irrelevant, and even if it deals with it in a text in a minor way. And this is a way to solve the issue for you. Now, this is interesting. Now, imagine you saw a website, and that website, you fell in love with it. That website has the elements that you look for in your research. That website has all the types of articles that you really are searching for. And you want to know, I want to find out websites that are related to that one. For example, you know that Science Direct is concerned with publishing articles. It shows open access articles and so on. I want to find. I don't know many websites like that. And then you ask Google, please, can you generate a website for me just like that one? So the way to do that is. So the expression is, I really like this website and I want another website related to it in terms of content. So what you do is that you write related sciencedirect.com. When I write related sciencedirect.com, it will give me all the websites that are like it. Nature, G-Store, Elsevier, American Chemical Society, American Institute of Physics, all those publishing, scientific research publishing. Now, you don't even need to look for websites that publishes articles. If you find out a website that has articles or thesis, just write it here, related sciencedirect.com, and it will give you related ones, like what we have seen now. Let's see if there are any questions. Okay, now let's move on next. Now what if now obviously this is just obviously we all know when we want to define a word, but this is just specific. If you want to define a word, and usually what we do is that we put, for example, acquisition definition, and that's it. But if you just want your whole results, your whole Google results is about definition. So what you put is define acquisition. Define acquisition. If you write that, then every single result here will be about defining that item for you. Merriam-Webster, and obviously Investopedia, Dictionary.com, Cambridge, Corpora, your dictionary. I mean, obviously, maybe one of you in the audience who are listening, maybe are dealing with corpus linguistics, or maybe you have an item you want to define in your research and you want to look for it specifically. So what you do here, obviously, you just click define acquisition, and you will find many websites, even specialized websites. You might find specialized websites on your term to define it in more specific terms. It will be better than just write definition acquisition, okay? Because you might find articles, books, and all of that, but this one is just specific. Now we have finished with Google. Are there any questions about Google? Are there any questions about Google before we move to Google Scholar? Any questions, guys? Or shall we move on? Okay, so I guess no question. Now let's move on to Google Scholar. Now we have obviously you saw a huge number of tips there. That's like, obviously Google has a lot of advantages now. You can literally now go and swim in the world of looking for exact phrases, looking only for PDFs, only for Word documents, related websites. What did this website say about my topic? There are so many things you can do. But is it enough? Obviously, is it enough? Now, why not just stick with Google? Obviously, Google has some advantages that Google Scholar does not. For example, Google will give you official websites. It will give you organizations, associations, policies, documents, corpus or corpora, and all of this. But there is something that Google Scholar has and Google does not. What is it? Now, the first thing that's about Google is the PDF files quality. Once, if you look for all the PDF files, all the articles about all the PDF files about my topic, obviously you will find a PDF file that's obviously just made by a person. It's not really good quality. Sometimes you find PDF file that's irrelevant, and the most important thing is some of those PDF files are not journal based. That is, they are not published in a journal, which means there is no peer review, and obviously these types of PDF files should be avoided if you're writing your research, because if you write your research, obviously you most likely you will cite from articles, books, thesis, dissertations which have gone through some peer review. And that's something that Google Scholar has and Google does not. And Google Scholar has many articles. You will see, if you look for your topic in Google Scholar, you will find obviously articles from Wiley, Elsevier, Nature, Oxford, and all of those. And now let's see the quick tips about handling Google Scholar. Let's just swim in the world of Google Scholar and see what this gentleman is offering for us. Let's see. Now I'm just going to search for language learning, just like that, just as a startup. Let's go to Google Scholar. So Google Scholar, scholar.google.com, and I just want to search for language learning. That's it. That's the beginning. Now obviously, as you see, when you search for language learning on Google Scholar, it's not the same as Google, because if you remember, when we search for language learning in Google, it gave us like some 2 billion results basically. That's a lot. But once you look for it on Google Scholar, it's 3 million, because here it's mostly articles. That's it. It's articles and books. Now, so as I've said, here we only have official articles and books. Now basically I can just go and click on it, and obviously it will give you the topic, and you just, if you have the option to download it, you're going to download it. Now, instead of, sometimes a person goes, for example, I like this one, second language learning and language teaching. You click on it, and then you spend the next 5 minutes or 10 minutes looking for the actual to download it. And this option is interesting. Now, if you have this option next to your topic, it means you can go straight to the PDF files without having to go and look for a description about the book, what is it, who wrote it, and then you will look for where is the download button, where can I download these things. You can just go and click for it here, and that's about it. It makes your life easier. And obviously here you go straight to the PDF file. The same thing for this one, you go straight to the PDF file. Okay, and the same thing from here, you go straight to the PDF file. So and so it's just we don't want to waste our time. That's the deal. This is for lazy people like me. Now we move on. That's the first thing we found out. Okay, Google Scholar, nice. It gives us articles and books. And another thing, I don't have to bother and join and click on the link. I can go straight to the PDF file by clicking on the left of the page, as I put here. Now, what if I want to look for a specific time? Now, okay, this is very good. Yeah, great. Google Scholar is awesome. It only gives me articles or books. But Google gives me something great. It gives me time range. Does Google Scholar have time range as well? Absolutely, yes. So you can set the time range. For example, I only want articles from 2021, basically. And you have it here. You see, I want articles about language learning, but only since 2021. I only want it from this year. That's it, guys. I don't want it before. So if you click on it, then you will get only articles and books which were published in 2020, and you see basically the date here. You see 21, you will see it here as well. So these are all the works that were published in 2021. The same thing for this one over here, and the same thing for something here. Now what if I don't want to look for it from since 21 or since 22 or 2017, but I want an exact time between this and that? You click on custom range, and I would write, for example, guys, give me articles and works about language learning, but I want it from 2015 to 2020. As soon as I click search, it will only give you the articles or works that have been published on language learning from 2015 to 2020. That's the first thing. So this is how you deal with time range. So as I said, this is how you deal with time range. Next. Now, this is something amazing about Google Scholar. What I really liked about Google Scholar, which is creating an alert. And you will find out that this is not just the case for Google Scholar. We will find it out later on. If you guys are enjoying the session and want to join us next week. If you want to join us next week for talking about the other websites, you will find that there are a lot of websites, especially the ones that are concerned with publishing articles, which have this feature, which is creating an alert. What does create an alert mean? Now, imagine this. Imagine I am a first year student, right? And I had a whole year looking for language learning. I was reading, downloading articles and books, anything that is related to my topic. And then I downloaded everything. Life is great. I downloaded everything in relation to my topic. And this is 2021. What if, after you downloaded your work, some other people published after you? Imagine that. Some people published after you. Some people published in 2021, 2022, and you only have those articles there. How would you know? Should I check every time to see something that's new? No. The way to do it, guys, is that you create an alert. Google Scholar will actually alert you whenever something is new about your topic. Something that's new about your topic that has just been published, it will send you an email and notify you that with that knowledge. So, for example, I click on create an alert. You write the Gmail, for example, for me, inesanunia@gmail.com, and then I create an alert. As soon as you create an alert, it will send you all the articles. Whenever something is published, it will send it to you. And obviously it works very well with me, and I was most surprised with the fact that Google Scholar sends me relevant stuff. I was afraid if I create an alert it will give me irrelevant stuff, but it gave me some stuff that are very related to my topic. And once you do that, you will get the following. Here I just clicked for Google Scholar and see how many times it gives me new updates, new stuff that are being published in my work. 19th of March, 22, 27, 29th, 29th, 2nd of April, 5th of April, 9th, 12th, 16th, 19th. So it's always, whenever something is new, obviously I'm searching for double H questions in Arabic. So whenever something is new, anything that's being published, it sends me the notification. If you click on it and you saw that it's relevant, you can download it. If it's not, then it doesn't matter. Now, the way to play around your topic is the following. Now, what if I want to find out the same as Google, I want to find a specific expression. I don't want that just for Google Scholar to give me something broad, but I want the specific exact phrase language learning. last قيمة غديتهم, and I just want that expression. What you do, guys, is that you click on this thing right here. So we go together and do it. So I click on it, and you go click on advanced search. So you click on this one over here, and you click on advanced search. Now it gives you all of these details. Now this is the normal one. Basically it tells you I want all of these words. Now if you want the exact phrase language learning, basically you write it here. So I want to find articles with the exact phrase language learning, and then you search for it, and you will find out only an expression about the topic. You will find the exact phrase in here. Okay, now, so as I've said, you click on advanced search, and something that's very good again is that what if I want to find out about language learning, but it should only be in the title, right? So because you want to find something, you want to find language learning, the exact phrase, but I don't want it to be anywhere in the article. Meaning I don't just want you to find it in the text. Remember the issue that I said before, that maybe the article that you will download, it only deals with your topic in a very minor way, and you want to find an article that focuses it on it in a main way. So what you do is that you just select in the title of the article. So here, language learning, I want to find the exact phrase language learning, and I want it in the title of the article. So once you do that, obviously all the articles suggestions here will have language learning in the article. And notice this, now we only have 18,000 results. I'm just saying, and this topic is not even narrowed down. So if I want to find out about language learning and it should be in the title, then obviously it's this one. And by the way, if you are not acquainted with the formulas, because you can see here all in title, colon, quotations, language learning. You do that on Google. If you're afraid that you will miss out and you will forget how to write it, then you can just go to advanced search and demand the characteristics that you want to apply. Now obviously, as I've said, there are many things, other features here. If you want to look for exact phrase, if you want to exclude the word, it's this one over here without the words. If you want to find the articles but only and this is something that Google Scholar has and Google does not, is that I want to find out about language learning but only by this author. For example, I only want to find out about I want an article about optimality theory but only written by McCarthy, for example. Or I want to find out about WH movement but only written by Chomsky. So here, this one authored by, also published in, and that's very good. For example, I want to look for this article but only published in Elsevier or only published in Oxford, and so on. Now another thing is that once you look for something, for example, let's go to our term language learning. Now Google usually gives you the result by relevance, which means the relevant. How do they translate relevance? Is through citation. For example, this one has been cited 940 times. So what if I don't want to find out the most relevant? Because a lot of times, as I said, the most relevant articles are the oldest. A lot of times, not most of the time, because they are the pioneer works. You find it being cited 1,000 times, but you risk not reviewing works that are new. And obviously, if you publish articles, you will be asked to not only provide the articles that are published from the pioneer authors, but sometimes there are some journals that tell you, give me only references from the last 5 years or so. There are some journals that ask you to only cite works that have been said in the last 5 years. and sorting by relevance will not show you the new articles. So what you do is that you click on sort by date. If I click sort by date, then you will see the articles that are published, the newest. For example, this one has been published 3 days ago, this one 3 days ago, and so on. About language learning, 3 days ago, 3 days ago, and so on. Let's check out another feature. Yeah, more features here. There are more features here. Now, what if I read this article and I really loved it and I want to save it? So what you do, you click on this little star here. If you click on it, save, now it will be saved in your library, and this is your library. So as soon as I click on my library, so obviously, so I click on my library, obviously we have both of these articles here. So here it's in my library. Now what if I wrote, for example, you are writing your thesis, but at the same time you are writing an article. So I want to put the topics about my article in one place, and the topic and the articles about my research in another place. The way you do that is that, for example, I click on this one, and then you click on labels. So you can create labels for your work. For example, my article is about language learning, and the other article is about, for example, I don't know, learning strategies, for example, I don't know, teaching, for example. One is about learning, one is about teaching. So I can create a new label. Maybe this one is about teaching, right? So what I do, this research, this one over here, I want to add it to my teaching, and I click on apply. So once you do that, you will find the articles on teaching, they are here, and the articles on learning, they are here, obviously. So this is just some tips if you want to save your articles that you have on Google Scholar. And as I've said, if you want to put it in different, you have certain articles you want that focus on something, and other articles you that focuses on another thing. Basically, you can create labels and put those articles in their own respect, in their own places. And obviously, if you guys have for example, EndNote, BibTeX, and all of that, you can export it basically, and you can also edit. For example, I like this article, and I'm just going to put some notes on it. You click on this edit button here, and it will give you all of these information, volume number, and all of that, because sometimes the article has some stuff that are not correct, and then you can just modify it. And then click on yes, and it will show the result in a correct way for you. Sorry, let's move on. Oh wait, this is the library. Okay. Now, a lot of times, remember, a lot of times people, obviously you like this work and you want to cite it, so you just click on this one over here, and this one means, this one between quotes, it means to cite it. And it will give you different citations. If you're using MLA, APA, Chicago, Harvard, obviously we don't use Harvard, Vancouver. Some people use Chicago, but most of the time, if you are linguistic students, obviously you will use APA. If you are from the humanities and culture and all of that, you use MLA. So it will give you the exact citation. And if you really love an article, for example, you can search for a related article. For example, I really love this article, this book, obviously, language and language learning, and you can just click on related articles, and what it does for you, it will give you all the articles that are related to it. And sometimes it can serve as a starter, and Google Scholar will help you. Even if you already have your article downloaded, you can search for the exact article you have and try to see what are the related ones to it, just as a startup. It's like a snowball sampling, kind of. Okay. And that's it. That's it. So this is Google and Google Scholar. Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions, guys? I hope you enjoyed the workshop about how to look for references online. And in this workshop, we dealt with Google and Google Scholar. These are some of the tips. And obviously, I will share the presentation with you guys on the Fed's Facebook page. It will be shared there as soon as possible, possibly in an hour and so. And I hope the session was fun for you. I'm sorry if I was rambling and all of that. And I hope you understood and you had fun. Next week, you are welcome to join another workshop, and it will deal with the other very important references and places to look for your articles. We'll deal with EMIST, authors, for example, Science Direct, JSTOR, Springer Link, and all of these. And obviously we will deal with the Instagram. Well, I will call it Instagram, the Instagram of researchers, which is academia and ResearchGate. And we will finish our workshop series with talking about Mendeley. How do I deal with these articles, where to export them, and all of that. No problem. Yes, Abdelhamid, it's the same time next week, inshallah, from 2 p.m. to 3:45 or something like this. So we start from 2 p.m. inshallah next week, Saturday. What about the certificates of attendance? There is no certificate here because this is prepared by the Feds with the help of the University of North Fair, but unfortunately we don't have certificates for now.